Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Yoders Farm. My name is Eldon, and Lowell is here with me today. Welcome to the podcast, Lowell.
Hey Eldon, thanks for welcoming me here.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for coming.
You're so welcoming.
Be a really odd podcast without you here because you're more of a farmer than I am. So I guess let's talk about farming.
You're a technology farmer.
Maybe. I don't know.
We need both types in the world, right?
I guess. So the last couple of weeks we have been through a lot of rain, some nicer weather. Go ahead and talk about some of that from your perspective.
Okay, so I think last podcast we recorded right before a very rainy week.
Yeah.
Forecasted week, and sure enough, it rained a lot that week. We picked very hard on Monday. I think we recorded that Sunday evening. We tried to get over as much of the wholesale patch as we could. So we picked hard, had a big crew in, picked a lot of berries, and the pick your own folks came out in droves and they picked. And so it was a good Monday. So heading into the rain, it was supposed to rain Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then maybe some showery stuff Friday, and that's pretty much how it happened. So
yeah,
I was going to try to, on this podcast, not to say anyway a lot. So anyway, we ended up, we headed into the rain in better shape, having stuff picked up.
Yeah,
greener fruit helps. Doesn't soak up the rain.
Ripe fruit doesn't do so well.
Ripe fruit doesn't last. So the other thing that helped us, I think we talked about some, was forecasted cooler temperatures, and that proved to be true. I mean, they were, we had like highs around 50. The temperatures kind of held steady through some of it. The other thing, I think it was Thursday, one of those days, we actually, it didn't really rain much, and it was very windy through that time, and so I actually allowed some drying to happen on the beds are elevated slightly, so the wind can kind of get through there, and I don't know, any time you get your berries from not sitting in water, it's helpful. So all in all, we did have some damage, but it could have been worse. We had some bad berries. There are bad berries now. I mean,
there was water damaged berries.
Water damaged berries that no one wanted to pick that are now bad berries in the pick your own patch.
Which tends to happen towards the end of a season anyway.
Yeah, it does. So, you kind of got to work around those, but it's not, I've seen it worse.
Yeah.
Our pickers have done, for the most part, a pretty good job of keeping the patch clean this year. And some of that has been the large amounts of pickers. Pick your own pickers we've had. So the patch we pick ourselves, we went through and threw a lot of fruit away we cleaned them up Friday and Saturday, pretty much the whole thing. We kept what good we could.
Yeah.
And Mom made some jam out of some of the ones that we couldn't sell. And the others that were bad, we just pitched them out, cleaned the plants up, and they're good to go again. So, the pick your own season is kind of winding down. I think we'll probably be open a couple more weeks. But we've definitely hit peak, and we're starting to trend down on the other side. Of course, there's still some small green fruit. So
there's still some blooms the other day when I was out there.
Yeah, so we'll have to kind of see how that all develops. Try to take good care of them, keep pumping water to them, a little fertilizer, and see what happens.
The longer we can stay open, a couple of miniature days long helps more than not being opened at all. So
what do you mean miniature days?
Miniature as far as not a ton of pick your own people. But if you can keep trickling along, and as long as there's good fruit to be picked, and you can stay open easily, which with the farm store we can generally do that fairly well. But
as long as people are willing to come pick and they're finding good berries, there's no reason to shut a pick your own patch down, at least at this point.
Yeah.
The wholesale patch, it's a different, most of those berries are a different variety. And so they tend to set fruit and produce over a longer period of time. They don't have the sharp peak that Chandlers do, which is the majority of our pick your own patch. So we have kind of been through, they sometimes kind of have a little bit of a mid-season lull in blooming and fruit development. I think we've kind of hit that back a little bit. And now I'm seeing a lot of blooms and green fruit down there. So, I think we'll be picking those for some weeks, actually probably most of the month.
Yeah.
As long as the weather stays reasonable.
Almost to July, you're saying?
Yeah, we've actually picked that variety into July. So as long as it's cool and fairly moderate, we should be able to do that. Anyway, it's been a good season. Had its fair share of challenges. There's always going to be challenges growing strawberries. Probably the ones that come to mind are the rain. That's kind of the story all up and down the East Coast and the strawberry growing regions, and the discussions that I hear. And then those late frost freeze events.
Yeah.
The cool April, which, just cool April is actually not all bad, but freezing April isn't all good.
Yeah. And an extended cool period in May you need some warm, sunny days anyway.
Yeah, warm-ish. You don't need hot.
Yeah.
We've not hit 90 yet this year. We've only had a few days, mid-80s.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's actually, some of these varieties come from, or were developed in California, and that's actually it kind of mimics the California weather, minus the rain. I don't think they have the amount of rain that we've had.
Yeah.
But I think that can set the berries up to do good things if you kind of get that cool April time frame.
Yep.
Well, I was on a conference. What was it?
It's a conference call.
Conference call, but it was a
video
virtual field day put on by the North Carolina. Who was it put on by? North Carolina.
I don't know.
People. The North Carolina strawberry experts. And that was yesterday. They call it a virtual field day. They do a lot of research down there. And
some of the universities are involved with that. I think.
And they have developed have developed and are working on developing some pretty interesting strawberry varieties. We've grown a few here in the past on a trial basis, and might grow some this fall if we can get a hold of some little plants. But anyway, they did I said it anyway.
That's your normal conversation method, though. So
anyway, so they had this call. They talked research, current kind of a few things they've observed, and then varieties. This is the time of the year that varieties are on people's minds. I have right here in my hands a catalog that I just got from one of the propagators. They have lists of everything they're going to have this fall and availability and pricing and so forth. So soon will be time to get those orders in, but people were, other farmers on the same call, in the chat box, so forth. They were talking about varieties. How did each variety handle this year's conditions and so forth, and what variety will we not be growing next year? What variety will we be planting more of?
Yeah.
It's always helpful to hear what other farmers are thinking. And even though, a variety that does well here on my farm might not do as well in Virginia Beach or North Carolina or somewhere else. So, there is value in hearing from other farmers, certainly, but there again, it's fairly specific to what works for you in your application. And
there's so many variables. It's kind of, it's, like you say, it's helpful to hear what they're thinking and what has been working for them. But at the end of the day, you kind of have to go with what you have here too.
You have to have an open mind, and hear what works for other people is always a good starting point anyway. Yep. So And you can't get stuck in, we've planted the same variety for 30 years and we're going to keep on. But then again, just because it's a tried and true variety doesn't mean you throw it all out and try something else. That's kind of a gamble. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, one of our varieties, we were a little less than pleased with this year than we have been in the past. Chandler, right?
Chandler, yeah, it just wasn't the best Chandler year. But then some people had good luck with it this year.
We were thinking some of that had to do with row covers on some windy nights and maybe some other things too.
Yeah, that probably didn't help. It seemed like probably smaller berries on average this year with the Chandler variety. That can happen if you get too much development in the fall. There are too many flowers. You can actually have too many strawberry flowers, and you can cut your fruit size down some in the spring. So lots of factors. Anyway, I've been thinking a little bit about what we're going to plant next year, but I don't have it.
Maybe once you lock that in, we can do an episode that kind of talks through the varieties.
Maybe so.
Again,
one of the ones that really seemed to do well this year for us, and I've hearing good things from other people, is Ruby June. It's a newer variety and nice big berries, fun to pick, excellent taste.
Those the ones that were about softball size.
Yeah, almost.
There were some big ones, maybe not quite that
but
big. But
yeah, the berry size is great. But the flavor, I think, probably if you would talk to most of us, that's probably everyone's almost their favorite strawberry this year. So that's good. I really like having strawberry that tastes good.
Yeah.
That's kind of a selling point when you're growing a food product.
Sure enough. Yeah. Well, we can dive into varieties more some other time. Let's see what else has been happening the last couple of weeks. We planted all our beans are in now, right?
Soybeans.
Yeah.
Yep, pretty much. There's one or so little mini fields that need to be planted. But, pretty much everything is in. And, of course, we've had a decent amount of water to get them up and started and out of the ground. So that's good. Yeah, fit that around everything else, all the other chaos that's been happening around here.
Yeah.
Greenhouses are still full of tomatoes. The heirlooms, they're, I don't know, probably tennis ball size, a little bigger.
You did a ton of work in that greenhouse.
Yeah, it had kind of needed to be pruned up and suckered.
Yeah.
Trimming the plants up. So we've been working at that. Hopefully 2-3 weeks, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe by the middle of June we'll have a few. Probably be a little later than that before we have
cucumbers about then too.
We have a few, and I think we've been picking a few off of the ones. So over the next week or two, should have a decent supply of cucumbers. The one greenhouse, I think we're about ready to start winding the plants up in that one. So we're going to go through, and if you just take the little growing tips out, it helps size the remaining fruit that's there, helps size that up. The plant puts more energy into the fruit development instead of vegetation.
Interesting.
So we'll probably do that. And the other greenhouse, the spring greenhouse, the big greenhouse, is producing very well. Lots of just nice, solid tomatoes. So we've had good markets for tomatoes, both here on the farm and in other places. So it's a good time to have a lot of tomatoes.
Very good.
Other than that,
anything else we need to
winding up strawberry season, thinking about pumpkins
and the corn maze,
making some management decisions about that. And pumpkins, I've got a bunch of seed already ordered. I probably should order a little bit more. And probably 3-4 weeks on pumpkins. Actually, around the 20th, 25th
to plant.
Of June, I need to be thinking about planting pumpkins. So
we talked a little bit about sweet corn the other day, maybe.
It's been a little bit of a more of a challenge on getting some of my early sweet corn did not germ very well. I think some of it was just so cool.
Yeah.
But the later stuff I planted on plastic looks pretty good. And I planted one last planting 2 days ago, and just not on plastic. That little field down by my house where I had pumpkins last year. So I'm curious to see how that does. I've never planted sweet corn there.
Yeah.
So that will be, August sweet corn.
Okay.
Probably.
Goodness. I thought we were going to close for a month again this year.
Well, it'll be at the very tail end of our season.
Okay.
Go out with a little buzz, hopefully.
There you go. Speaking of buzzes.
Assuming it comes up.
Speaking of buzzes, your bees have been busy.
Yeah.
You were talking about them some of them swarmed.
Yeah, I've been having my struggles with my bees, but some of them swarmed and I didn't like that. A couple of hives are really doing well, producing a lot of honey, so hoping to get a moderate amount of honey off of them. I don't think I'll be setting the world on fire. This will
be your first harvest of honey, right?
Yeah, I didn't pull any last year, so I'm hoping to pull a decent
Another
amount this
new
year.
Thing to figure out.
Yeah, kind of a learning curve on that.
Yeah.
Go back to YouTube, I guess. And talk to Ricky John Bowman.
There you go. Yeah, it's always good to have friends him and Jeff have been very helpful for you.
Yep. But yeah, I think they're doing okay. I'm thinking about trying some queen grafting. I've got some stuff to do it with.
I don't even know what that is, but
basically you take a little itty bitty larva that's developing and you put it in this little plastic queen cup that's made to assimilate a queen cell.
Okay.
Pop it in a very strong hive that does not have a queen.
Okay.
And they feed it royal jelly and turn it into a queen.
That's so weird and so cool.
Yeah. If you got to be really careful, you can't damage the thing. So there's this little grafting tool that you scoop down into the cell and carefully put it over.
The royal jelly. That's a funny term.
Yeah. Royal jelly.
So I could go for some royal jelly myself.
The people that do well at it can, they get 50, 60, 70% success rate on the ones that they do. They usually, you'll do, some people do 20, 30, 40. I don't know if you do 40. You do a bunch of them.
Oh, so you do a bunch of them in one hive.
Then you can pretty quickly tell which ones they accept and build out and which they don't, like within a day or two. And
that's
then
fascinating.
Before the queen emerges, you either need to pop it out into a little queen cage, or anyway, you don't want a bunch of queens running around all together because they kill each other and one comes out on top.
It's a lot of royal stuff going on there.
But if you put them out before they hatch into a hive that needs one or whatever, then they hatch in there and
they can accept them there.
Yeah. The idea behind it is to take your best hive and all the genetics run through the queen, so you want to try to reproduce those genetics. So this is a way to kind of do that. And supposedly a queen that is made in ideal conditions, like a really strong hive that can feed the royal jelly, it'll make a bigger, better queen cup, which makes a bigger, better queen. So that's what they tell me anyway.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Very good. Anything else we should talk about before we wrap this up?
No, I think we have rambled on long enough and talked about many different things. So,
hey, maybe this will be interesting for us in 20 years when we're older. I was going to say old and gray, but it'll probably be gray.
I hear some of us are taking vacations and going on trips, so the rest of us will stay here and work, and other people can work on the road.
Yeah, I think those folks were going to work on the road, though. So
okay, fair enough.
All right, well, if you've made it this far, thanks for listening, and as always, you can head over to yodersfarm.com for all the information about the farm. You can find the podcast episodes over there and subscribe and stuff, too, if you're interested in that. So thanks for listening, and
I think you said we have some new mugs on the website.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Strawberry themed mugs.
I very wisely waited to add those till like the other day.
Then the strawberry
2/3
season.
of the way through the season.
Yeah, I saw one. I thought, since I grow the strawberries, I should probably get one.
Yeah, we should probably get you a discount on it though. So.
That would be nice. I have like a 15% discount code through the end of the year. Through the end of the month.
Just through the end of next week.
Through the end of next week.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Talk to you in a couple weeks. See ya.